Welcome to another episode of OakieVision. My name is Ryan Barnett, Sports Information Director here at Menlo College. And my guest this week is none other than Menlo College women's basketball alumna and current Menlo College admissions counselor, Celina Pagan. Thanks for joining me, Celina.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's dive right on in. A lot of questions for you this week. Of course, you being the first guest on OakieVision who is not a head coach. So just getting a different perspective for members of the Menlo College athletic staff and members of the Menlo College staff that were formerly part of athletics like yourself. Let's start with a little bit about yourself. Like so many Menlo College students and alums, you hail from Hawaii. Why don't you talk a little bit about the path that led you to Menlo College? What made you really want to become an Oak?
Well, mine's a little different. I actually came from Hawaii out to California. I went to Mission College in Santa Clara. So I was recruited to play basketball there at a junior college, all the way from Hawaii. So it was a little different. I came out here, played my first 2 years at Mission, went very well. Shannon, the head coach from Menlo, reached out and she started coming to my games. We started communicating, and I came to Menlo to visit and play an open gym. And I came on an official visit and stayed with the team, and I loved it. I got a tour of the campus. I met and actually, since there's a lot of Hawaii kids at Menlo, I knew about Menlo. I had former old high school friends that were at Menlo and I knew about it when I was at Mission. So when I was getting recruited, I was like, oh, I know exactly where Menlo is. I've been there a couple of times visiting friends. So I went to visit. I already knew what the campus was like. The people there are so awesome. Once I was just touring the campus, everyone was very friendly. And I had such a great experience. Even when I stayed with the team was super welcoming. And I love Shannon's style of coaching. So I think that's what really made me want to come is basketball. And then also being being in an environment where it felt like home. And I think that's why I really, really committed to Menlo, was because it felt like it wasn't pressured or I felt uncomfortable. I felt like home right when I stepped on campus.
Now, you played at Mission College down the road, of course, before Menlo. Was California always sort of in the cards for you, do you think? Or did it just happen that Mission came a-calling and you answered?
I always liked California. I actually have family in California, so I came out here before when I was in high school on not just for my travel team, but also I came out here to visit family. And I just loved it because it's almost like Hawaii where, there's the beach close by, but then also you can go into the city and it's just much more vast, but it's kind of like a beachy town as well. So I really liked it. And the weather was not too cold.
Yeah, we've got some great weather here. Of course, you also have the warm weather back home. Now,
Yeah.
let me say, in your heyday here at Menlo, you were fun to watch. One of the most prolific perimeter scorers in Menlo College history. Do you have some favorite memories from your playing days, both on the court and off the court, of your time as a student at Menlo College?
Oh yeah, so many. I mean, of course, one of the biggest memories, like one of the best memories I've had was definitely when we beat Vanguard. They were ranked the first team. They were ranked #1 in the nation. And of course, GSAC, as everyone knows, they have the best teams in the nation in the GSAC League. So the fact that we were playing against them, and Menlo has never beat a #1 ranked team in the nation, and we were the first one, and we beat them. It was a pretty good game. It was back and forth, but towards the end we kind of pulled out that lead. I think we won by like 10, but it was such a great experience. At the end of the game, the horn went off. Everyone went running on the court. We're all jumping up, going crazy, going into the locker room, celebrating. That was definitely one of the best memories that I had. And then, of course, going to the national tournament and making it as far as any women's basketball team has made it to the Elite Eight. That was a very, very fun experience as well. So those two memories for sure have been the fondest memories. And then off the court, I mean, in general, there's so many memories at Menlo that I think about, like even just with faculty and staff. I could just walk around campus and they would just always be like, hey, how are you doing, Celina? And like just the personal vibes and the personal attention that I would get, and like any of us. And I think that's what it was, a lot of fun was because it just felt like, it didn't really feel like school. It just felt like you were in a fun environment. And even when you're going to class and things like that, I think those are the memories that I really love, is like being able to see my professors and my classmates and just having fun.
Yeah, definitely a recurring theme among student athletes, alums, and even our staff and faculty members. You know, that family vibe on campus, that everyone really cares about everyone else. And it doesn't necessarily feel like you're going to class, you're in school, you're there with people who care about you. And it seems like
Exactly.
you totally embrace that culture as well.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, upon graduation, like so many other Menlo students, you successfully secured a job, started working full time, but then your path circled back and led you right back here to Menlo College, working as an admissions counselor. Do you think that was always in the cards for you, or was that sort of just a coincidence that the opportunity came up and you seized it?
It's funny that you ask. I actually never thought I would be working at Menlo. I thought I would be working at some other company or doing something else. But it definitely just kind of it just fell in my lap. I mean, I got reached out about the position because the territory that I'm involved with, it's from, Hawaii. So I deal with Hawaii students and out of state students, and I replicate that. I'm from Hawaii. So I think that's why it was so easy for me to be like, oh, for sure, because I get to give back to Menlo, one of the best colleges I've ever been to, and I had such a great experience that I didn't really have a second option or second choice to think, like, second thought, like, oh, never mind, I don't think I want to do that. Like, right when I got offered the position, I was like, oh yeah, I think this would be perfect.
Right now, of course, you're a member of our incredible admissions and enrollment staff, continuing to increase the enrollment numbers with high caliber students here at Menlo. Why don't you take us a little bit through the life of an admissions counselor, maybe pre-quarantine and now during quarantine, what you've been doing, how you keep in contact with these students and bring them to Menlo College and share not just your experience, but so many students' positive experiences to help recruit.
Yeah. I mean, as an admissions counselor, what I do is pre-quarantine, I would schedule visits to go to Hawaii and out of state. I've been to Seattle, Spokane, Boise, and I was supposed to go to Reno, but I didn't. So I've been to those states. We schedule visits to go and recruit at high school fairs, college fairs, and I pretty much just talk about Menlo. I tell them what Menlo College can offer them, the great curriculum we have, and things like that. So I pretty much am selling Menlo to these students and trying to give them the experience that I've experienced. And I think that's one of the greatest things about it, is that I get to share my experiences, and a lot of these students, and not even just my experiences, my colleagues and friends and people that I've been around, and being able to share those experiences to these students, I feel like that's why students really love Menlo, and they get to see it from a first-hand experience, and they really grasp to it. And I think that was pre-quarantine, was when I was able to go and travel and see them personally and visit with them at their high schools or visit with them at college fairs. Now during quarantine, things have changed, of course, and I'm not allowed to visit or go and travel anywhere. So we are doing visits virtually. So same thing, except I'm just scheduling visits on via Zoom through high schools, as well as college fairs, big college fairs. So I haven't experienced it yet. I'm starting this week and next week, so we'll see how it goes. It's new for everyone. I'm excited to see how it goes. It's going to be a little different because it's going to be virtually, so I won't be able to talk to them or get their hard copy information easily as attainable. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm super excited.
Well, we know you do a great job in person, and we're sure you're going to keep on at it that way virtually as well. Now, you also had the opportunity, if I'm not mistaken, further into quarantine to take over and help out with some of the athletic recruiting as well. So not only sharing your experience as a student and a student from out of state, but also sharing your experience with student athletes. Of course, that's a different style of recruiting from working, just with traditional non-athlete students. How is that a little bit different from working just with your traditional population of out-of-state non-athletes to working with pretty much all of the incoming student athletes for this upcoming semester?
I mean, it's been definitely, it's different. Usually athletes are more kind of focused on their sport, and they're definitely excited to get their season started and things like that. So it's been definitely a struggle to kind of, everyone's adapting to this whole new coronavirus pandemic thing. So it's kind of hard to break it down to students and let them know, like, I'm not sure if you're going to have a season, we're pushing it back, things like that. So it's definitely a little harder because student athletes don't really want to study online. They want to be on campus with their teammates, training every day. So it's definitely different from a traditional student. I've had traditional students be like, okay, well, great, I can do online. I've been doing it. It's fine. I don't mind. While the student athletes, it's much different. They're more focusing on, okay, when can I get on campus? I want to be in the dorms. I'm trying to get there right now. So I have to break it down to them and say, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. We have to go through this process and this process. So it's been different for sure. But majority, I think that's what it really comes down to, is just the athletes want to be on campus and train and get ready for their sport.
All right, and I think that transitions us nicely into talking a little bit of basketball. Now, talking about this season's team, of course, the team, all the Golden State Athletic Conference scheduled to start competition in the spring. You had a chance to maybe play with some of these girls. Of course, Mira and I believe Salome was on the court with you, as well as a redshirt in your senior year, her freshman year. And then as well as part of the travel team with the women's basketball team this year, getting to know some of these girls. What do you think their outlook is on the conference this year, as they've had some time, they have a season together under their belt, and maybe even if you've got a chance to work with some of the new recruits come in, what do you think the outlook is for the team this year in the GSAC?
So I think it's kind of hard to say for the outlook, like what's going to happen with the team. How are they gonna be during the whole conference? Because usually during the summertime is when we would have open gyms, and that is when we would alumni and current students and all the players would come and play in the gym for a couple hours. I believe it was like Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. But we couldn't do that this year, so I wasn't able to meet any of the new players that had been recruited. But I do know that the players, the current players, and then the future players that are coming in have been training a lot. So I know they're excited. I know that they're hungry for this coming up season. I know that they picked up a couple new guards and new players, a couple of them being junior college students. So athletes. So I'm excited to see that because, they've had that experience through that college level. So I think I think they'll handle it pretty well. I know Shannon's ready to get them in and get them going and training for this next year, even if it is a couple games short, things like that. But I think they're hungry. I know that they're hungry to come back, and they've been training during this quarantine. They haven't really taken those days off or taken these days lightly as in, okay, let me take a break. So I do have high hopes for them.
Yeah, and I think one of the recurring themes this year is resiliency. We don't necessarily know when the season is going to truly get started, how much of a preseason these girls are going to get a chance to get in shape and get ready. Do you think they've got that mental toughness and that resiliency to get ready and hit the ground running?
Oh yeah, I think Shannon instills that in them. They have that grit. So I think definitely I can see it. I mean, I see them training and things like that. So I really do think that once that time comes, they're going to be hungry for it.
All right. Well, we've talked a little bit of basketball. We've talked a little bit about what you're doing now currently with Menlo. Last question for you, just for the fans at home to get them thinking, get them some new ideas. What have you been doing to keep yourself busy outside of work hours during quarantine?
Yeah. So I've definitely have gone on hikes, kind of just adventuring out as much as I can. I've gone to different like scenic routes and things like that. I've been reading. I've gotten into some books, and I've kind of just been I've been trying to be active because that's all I can really do. So just going out and exploring and hiking and reading and watching new shows and movies and things that I can really only do right now. So I wish I could be home in Hawaii, but I can't. We're on lockdown. So that's pretty much what I've been doing.
All right. Well, I asked Denise this because Denise also said hiking was one of her hobbies and gave us some names of some trails. Do you have any recommendations? Any favorite trails around you?
I go on, okay, so what I do is I go on All Trails, the app. So I go on on the app, All Trails, and I just look up all these different ones. I went to one in Half Moon Bay. I don't remember what it was called. Sorry, no help there. I just do like the easy, like the harder ones, like Mission Peak. I've done that a couple times. I've gone to Alum Rock over here, around the Loop. Um, that's pretty much. I don't know exactly the names, but I've just done a lot of them from the All Trails app. So that's really all I can
Yeah,
say.
no, that's a great suggestion. Actually, you're the first person who's brought up that app when I've
Oh,
asked this question. So definitely for you fans at home, a great way to stay active, like Celina.
mhm.
All Trails, it's an app. I'm assuming you can probably get it on your iPhone or Android
Yes.
device. So go ahead and give
Mhm.
that a look if you're looking to stay active and get outside. The weather is cooling off nicely here in the Bay Area and around California, and hopefully with the fires, the smokiness starts to
Yeah.
clear out as well.
Mhm.
So a great suggestion there. Thanks so much for your time, Celina, and for joining me this
Of
week on OakieVision.
course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And that'll wrap it up for this week's episode, fans. Stay tuned next week as we have another exciting interview coming. Thanks for tuning into OakieVision and have a great week.